toll is a toll and a roll is a roll, and if we don't get no tolls, then we don't eat no rolls. And we are on a roll, far behind by Candlebox, for Connor O'Toole, Al K, Anthony Bagarosa, and Rob Hawkins. And super special thanks to Mr. Steve Fabietti for signing up for the Patreon supporters of the Claws Club. Steve, thank you. And if you'd like to have that kind of fun, of course, the link is in the description. Yay. Egad, it's in standard tuning. I don't even know what to do with myself. That's odd for us lately. Grab the 10th fret of the A string and the 10th fret of the B string, and then you're going to pluck the A string once more before the B string does the cool thing, slide from 10 to 12, and then pluck that A10 again, and one more B10. So, then the open E string, it's a smooth transition, and we want baby E7, B8, move it down to baby E5, B7, then pluck away on a regular old D chord, and then walk up on the A string, open to 3, while we slide into a C add 9. So pointer finger goes to D2, ring finger goes to B3, but we're going to leave the E string open. Pluck down to the B string in that fashion, and then specifically, for the first time anyways, E, B, E, B, G. Nice and slow. Kicks in here, so you're not going to do the walk up, you're just going to strum away on that C add 9 for one hit, and then at the very end of it, we want a B note on the second note of the A string before we go back to the beginning. And then every other time, that B note comes in, but we're going to do the walk. Like that. That chord's a G with a B in the bass because it's everything about G, right? Except for these two G notes, both the E strings. So G with a B in the bass, a note on that C add 9. We usually put a pinky finger on that E string 3rd fret, which is just as much C add 9. They're both C add 9 because whether this note is an E or a G, an open or a 3rd fret, right? There is an E and a G in a C chord regularly. Our E is on the D string 2nd fret when we play C. Our G is the open G string, so whether you add an E or a G into what's already there, it's still C add 9. That brings us to the chorus. The chord progression for the chorus, well, the chord progression for the verse also. When we do this, it's out of your G chord, like a root 5 major chord. So the chord progression for the verse is G, E minor, D, and C. And that's the chord progression for the chorus too. So you could just play G, E minor, Candlebox guy won't come to your house, but the particular way that he did it was G like this, an E power chord up here on the A string 7th fret, 5, 7, 9, 9, but we want that open E string too, down to a D power chord, no longer want the open E string because it doesn't belong in the chord, and then a C power chord on the 3rd fret with that B note, but getting back to G after doing that is much easier than getting way back up there to G after doing that. So, G, E, D, C, B note, back into it. And then the second time, lead guy goes using octave chords out of your E while the rest of the band goes back to D. He can do that because he's messing around with the G major scale in octaves, which is the key of our song, so any of the notes in the G major scale would work. He goes E on 7 and 9 of the A and G strings. We want to mute everything else when we do this. I'll call this fret 7, 9, 10, 9, 7, 5, 7 in context. But you could use that as a spot to do your own thing. Here's the notes of the G major scale. 10th fret, we're going to go down, backwards. It's backwards do, re, mi. So 10, 9, 7, 5, 3, 2, right? It's the major scale backwards. We're not going to go any lower because we lose the ability to do octaves, but going up higher, 10, 12, 14, 15, 17, and let's not go any higher than that. Okay, fine. 19, but you hear how that sounds like the do, re, mi, ti, do. So you could use any of those there to do your thing. The first chunk of the solo is over the chorus progression. So do your G, E minor, D, C, or the other way of doing it, totally doesn't matter. And the solo uses the E minor pentatonic scale. So up here, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15. I'll get you started anyways. G, 12, and 14. And again, the third time, back to 12 before you bend B 15, and then it spends a whole chunk bending B 15, and then it starts off with the same 12 14 on the G string deal, bend that B 15, and this is the neat one, E 12 14, B 15, E 12 14 15, bend it. I forget already, huh? There we go. And then noodle away in E minor pentatonic, however you like to noodle away in E minor pentatonic. Then when the solo kicks it up a notch, around 3 minutes and 15 seconds, the chord progression switches to 2 Gs, 2 E minors, for quite some time. Guitar continues in E minor pentatonic. Then when he starts proclaiming "Oh no" at 3:35, we encounter the disaster pants chord. You put this chord in a song anytime you want it to sound like a disaster. It's open, A7, D6, G7. That makes it an E7 chord, but we're going to do a curious thing here and add the B string 8th fret. That is what would be a minor third from an E minor chord, but since it's already a major chord with a major third there, we can't have it be a minor chord and a major chord at the same time, so we call this note not a flat third or a minor third, but a sharp 9th or a sharp 2nd. So it's the Jimi Hendrix chord. Fitting. And of course it ends that with the neat riff. We're going to go A7, 5, E7, 6, 5, open, open. Back into the 2G, 2 E minor thing. That chord, by the way, is called E7 sharp 9. Bust that out at parties. Yeah, so it does the G, E minor thing, which gets cut into once or twice by the... And at the end, of course, it does it 3 times. On a G, far behind Candlebox. Thank you guys for that request. That's such a lovely song, and now we know how to play it, including me. I didn't know before this. Thank you all so much for being here. I will see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.